is for the day. So this morning we're inviting each of you to engage with each other to refine our shared vision for a brighter future for Indian country. And we're specifically asking you to focus in on the next 4 years and what we can accomplish with Congress and the administration, and how we can create a better partnership with Indian country, what are our specific recommendations. So no matter if it's the Obama administration or the very first Romney administration, we want to be able to make sure that we have our requests put in place. So I wanted to take a few minutes of our agenda for this week to help have this conversation. So you know that things look a little bit different. First of all, I've invited our 4 speakers to come and help set the tone in a couple of issue areas, and they have diverse perspectives. And they will be able to share their thoughts, their personal thoughts on these issues that are critical for Indian country and make concrete recommendations what this vision means for the next 4 years. We invited these speakers because we hope they will kick off the conversation and that you will inspire you. We want our recommendations to be really clear, and we know there's a lot of wisdom in this room. And we wanted to create a place for you to give us your perspectives. So after the first 2 speakers speak, then we will ask a question. And we will be capturing your thoughts with our graphic artists over there, because we know from previous experience using a graphic artist that you really like that. We also have, we also want to encourage everybody to complete the survey, and you should have received, where's my copy? But you should have received a survey this morning as you either went to your regional caucus this morning or you came in the door. We're asking you to complete the survey, and we are promising you that before we conclude this conference here this week, you will see the results of this survey. And we hope that you really include it in the survey. We hope that you really consider sharing some story that, or identifying if your tribe has something that you really want to be able to share as we try to advocate on these issues. So we're always looking for a story that makes our case. We need to build up our war chest of those stories, and so you'll see there's a place on the survey for you to include that. We also know that folks like to, we won't be able to get to, perhaps, depending upon how engaging it is, for everybody to get to the microphones. And because we have a limited amount of time for this conversation. So you have sticky notes on your tables that have been distributed earlier this morning. Please use those sticky notes to write any thoughts that you would like to share, and we will be gathering those. We have boards in the back that you can stick them on, or we can gather them from you as you leave when we gather your surveys. Every way that you give us your input, we will take it gladly. In the back of the room over there, you'll see a timeline. That timeline kind of, once again, we ask you to take a look at it today. It kind of gives you some ideas of the things that we've accomplished together in Indian country, and you'll see the history of Indian country in that timeline. Okay, let me see what else. All right, so we also gave you 2 documents. These documents, we have the 2008 platform and a document that lays out our core priorities that we did together before for our nation-to-nation relationship. And then we also have the accomplishments document. And the accomplishments document kind of summarizes for you what actually got accomplished in the last 4 years of some of the priorities that we put forward. And we gave you these 2 documents to stimulate your mind about having concrete recommendations that we can really put forward to the administration that are achievable and that we can actually get some things done. If you look at the accomplishments document on the very last page of the last 2 pages of the accomplishments document, you'll actually see that Jefferson Keel put forward 5 challenges to the presidential candidates. And the summary of those 5 challenges in his 2012 State of the Indian Nations address. And I want to, you can also see those 5 challenges on the slide there, just to kind of remind you of what are some of our high-level kind of recommendations that we have made in the past and that we continue to push forward. So, and then we were going to give you all copies so that you could read right here of our 65-page transition plan that we gave to the administration last time. But we decided that we wanted to save a few trees, and you wouldn't have time to read it. But I just wanted to highlight a few things that were in that transition plan. When we gave it to the administration, we listed key appointments, key Native American liaisons and federal agencies, key appointments to the Secretary of Interior, the White House advisor. We had top Indian priorities like trust reform, law enforcement. We had COBEL settlement. We had national policies that needed to be included, like the health reform, reauthorization, the Recovery Act. We had a bunch of recommendations regarding the Recovery Act, and we also had policy papers on key issues to make sure that we prepared our partners with tribes. So that gives you a summary of some of the things that we've put forward in the past. Think about those recommendations as we think of what we got accomplished and where do we want to go forward. Now it's my pleasure to be able to introduce Dr. Eddie Brown, my co-facilitator, and we've done this a couple of times together. Dr. Brown's been a longtime partner of NCAI. He's also my co-chair on the Advisory Council for the Policy Research Center at NCAI. And he's been working with us collaboratively for at least 10 years, because that's how long I've been around, is 10 years. And he's been helping us shape important work like policy think tank kind of conversations that we need to have at NCAI. Of course, many of you know him as the former Assistant Secretary for Bureau of Indian Affairs, and he's had a distinguished service in Indian country. But currently, he serves as the Executive Director of the American Indian Policy Institute at Arizona State University. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Eddie Brown.
Great. Thank you, Jackie. Good morning. I want to wish all of you a good morning and to welcome you to... Not used to getting an applause in the classroom, so excuse me. But I want to wish all of you a good morning and welcome you to this very special session. And you know, I'm pleased to see so many familiar and dedicated individuals in the audience this morning. And I want you to know that I'm very excited about this particular session because it provides an opportunity for us to come together as sisters and brothers to actively and consciously participate in the creation of our own future. It has been stated that the exercise of tribal sovereignty means being able to actively and consciously participate in the creation of our own future. If we allow our future to be decided by others, we are really not exercising our sovereign powers. There is a direct relationship between sovereignty and our willingness to determine what our future will be. To this end, Jackie and I will be urging you to use your sovereign powers this morning to identify your thoughts and innovative ideas in addressing the challenges that lay ahead of us in creating strong, thriving tribal communities. And remember, we are looking for a positive vision of what Indian country should look like in the future. And through that visionary lens, then we can begin to identify the strategies and actions we need to advance our tribal agenda as well as